Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rekahak, Radash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. The 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen that look like the heathen, the Israelite foreigners. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson, chronicling the downfall of Esau, Edom, especially them of Amalek who have claimed our heritage and continue to propagate the lie, even though all the evidence, biblical evidence, and the physical evidence now is showing itself that they are not. As you can see on the screen, the end of Israel's economy is not only the end of their economy, it's the end of Israel. They're done, and you know, they do not match up prophetically with the condition that Israel would be in after they go home. When Israel went back to the land of Israel, there will be peace on earth. They will be the ruling class people, and they would have plenty of corn and wine. That is clearly not the case with these people. In state of perpetual war and danger, and we're going to listen to how bad it really is. But before we do that, let's get some scriptures. Let me read Isaiah 45:17, because the world of Israel, that world, remember when God so loved the world, each of the 18 nations he created is a world. The world that he loved was the world that he came from, which was the world of Israel. Christians, apologists. This is Isaiah 45:17. All right, and this is yet another one of those scriptures that tells you that these people are not the people of the Lord. But it says, "But Israel shall be saved in Yahweh with an everlasting salvation. Ye shall not be ashamed nor confounded, world without end." These people, their shelter in place on the land that they propagated to themselves unrighteously. According to Scripture, they're losing it. To see what the Scriptures does say, that the Amalek, that the Edomites would take the land of Israel into their own possession in the latter days. And that's what they did do. And now they're falling. Tel Aviv is falling. Just watch it. Here, if you look over here, this video by Dedi Hafong, it says, Israel embarrassed, Yemen's hypersonic missile hits Tel Aviv. All right, the Yemenis, man, see, they can't. Anyway, without any further ado, the Biblical Rumble Room, GC number 216, 1948, a state is failing. Here is the proof.
Genocidal ambitions of Zionism and the BDS movement are The truth is, the genocidal ambitions of Zionism and the BDS movement are wrecking the Israeli economy. You may have heard that the Eliab port, Israel's only port on the Red Sea, has declared bankruptcy after months of a blockade by the Houthis. But honestly, that's just the beginning of it. Since October 7th, over 46,000 businesses in Israel have gone bankrupt, and their tourism industry is basically collapsing. Huge tech companies like Samsung are pulling out of Israel, and Intel just canceled a $25 billion investment plan with them. One of the largest insurance companies in France, AXA, has now completely divested from Israeli banks and arms manufacturers like Elbit Systems. Israel's energy sector is in danger too, because they rely heavily on coal imported from Colombia to meet demand, and Colombia recently just cut ties with them. And even Israeli universities aren't safe, with scientists and professors reporting a steep decline in joint research opportunities, thanks to the student encampment protests around the globe. And of course, Israelis themselves are leaving the country at record numbers. In fact, it looks like the only two parts of the Israeli economy not taking a hit are weapons manufacturing and company exits, which are just companies selling to international buyers so they can leave Israel. These are all signs that the Zionist project is starting to crumble, and even Israelis themselves are starting to see it. And all of this demonstrates the power of the boycott, divest, and sanction movement, and how important it is combating the Israeli occupation. As we all know, in this capitalist world, cash is king, so if we want change, we have to affect the money. At the end of the day, that's why the ruling class changes things. It's why the Montgomery bus boycotts were so critical in ending U.S. segregation. It's why the global cultural, economic, and sporting boycotts against South Africa were so instrumental in dismantling South African apartheid. It's because at the end of the day, money talks. So if you made it this far in this video, what can you do to put
everything that he just showed you that was dismantled were the cruel inventions of Esau, Edom, and the state of Israel was yet another one, and that cruel invention of Esau, Edom, it's collapsing, just as it said is supposed to in the scriptures. That port that he was talking about is the port in Tel Aviv. This is Zechariah 9:6. And the bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. Ashdod is basically a port city in Tel Aviv. And it tells you that and then that word bastard means fraud, phony, without the father, a fraudulent, a phony, falseness. Those are synonyms to that word bastard. All right.
Push the BDS movement further along? Well, obviously the first step is to continue to boycott any Israeli products or companies that are complicit in the Israeli occupation. And while you can't...
So where is it in the scriptures where Israel will get into power after Revelation 7, 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes? All right, and then in verse 9, the innumerable multitude of the mixed multitude of the Israelites that's been gathered from among the heathen that look like those heathen. Yeah, that part. And when they establish their government, that they will be boycotted by all the other nations. All right. So these people, they're not the people. And they're being put on Front Street. How much more evidence and proof do you people need? All right. And this isn't hate or anti. This is don't start screaming anti-semantics. That shit ain't working. All right. You're not the people you claim to be anyway. There's no anti-semantics going on here. This is just truth.
Can and should boycott as many brands as possible that are linked to the Israeli occupation. These are the ones that you should especially focus on because they can apply the most targeted pressure. And for particularly large companies like Amazon or Google that are harder to avoid, the key is to minimize our use of them as much as possible. On a larger scale, we should all be pressuring our local communities, schools, and institutions to divest fully from Israel because our cities and our schools should not be profiting from genocide. Every single dollar we spend is a vote.
And Amazon was really turned loose to destroy the middle class and the small business owner, especially the so-called black business owners who have been, a couple generations in business. They all got swallowed up and destroyed by Amazon. All right. And that was a tactical hit, by the way. And I'll if not in this video, in the next video, I will provide some evidence on that.
Vote for the kind of world that we want to see. So make sure that you're voting for a better one.
So basically, what you're seeing here is you're seeing that Haman effect, and the same. Haman was an Amalekite, just like these people now. They're in the land of Israel, and Haman ended up, all the wickedness that he was doing. Haman ended up being a victim of his own folly. All right. The devices that the things that he was trying to do, just like these people trying to put sanctions on everybody and commit financial terrorism on everyone by preventing them from earning money and attacking them, and stopping their way of making a living. Anytime you speak against them or go against their agenda, it's being done back to them. All right, to the point to where the people are leaving the land now. All right, let's see if I can find that real quick. About Haman when he got hung on the gallows. The same gallows that he had built to destroy Malachi and the Judites, the southern kingdom. He ended up being hung on those very gallows. Yeah, that's Esther the 7th chapter. And I'm going to start at verse 9. I'll start at verse 8. Because, these Edomites are just cold busted, caught red-handed, Esther 7 and 8, it says, Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed wherein Esther was. Then said the king, Will he force the queen also before the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. And Haman, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who has spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai, and then the king was pacified. So they hung him. And I'd have to go and read a little bit more, but I believe they hung his whole family. They killed them all. And that's basically what's going to happen. That's happening to Amalek again. They were so proud in their falseness and this ishness and this small hatness that they've cleaved onto this lie, and basically the rope, basically it's been enough rope just to hang them. So now the shameful falling, of what the Hebrew Israelites have been saying, and they try to demonize the truth, and the truth is showing that the Lord is not with them. They're not the people, and that they are responsible for death, destruction, for financial terrorism, against people of the earth. All right. And mainly the actual Hebrew Israelites, the true 12 tribes. All right. That's a topic that just comes up daily. You can't get around it. There's always some talk of it somewhere on the internet and somewhere. Right. And they've tried to control the narrative and use, people like Klaus, Dr. Michael Brown. Remember, the word doctor means to falsify. James White, the Edomite, and Nobars Malone, vocab. They tried to use them, and they all failed miserably. They used loaded statements, loaded questions, and completely and just basically outright lied, in the scriptures, and break down scriptures incorrectly on purpose. So it's like what's the saying? In order to tell a lie, you got to know the truth, and that's definitely them. And this is Queen Heights, New York. I just turned on TikTok to go to a video, and it looks like you're in Thailand, but then Queen Heights, New York. All right, but let me get to these saved videos.
Do y'all not see what's going on?
Okay, this dude, he's so hood. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. This brother here. Richard Wolff, which is a financial analyst, a small hat financial analyst. Let's because it's not just that. Not only they're losing Israel, they're losing their interest and their control here as well. All right. The same thing that you're seeing in the land of Israel, eventually you're going to see here against AIPAC, against ADL, against the AMJ, AJW. You're gonna whatever. You're gonna see the same thing happening. All right, but here we go. Without further ado, Richard Wolff here.
The United States has 6 major allies, economically speaking. They're called the G7, the group of 7. The United States, Canada, Japan, Britain, France, Germany, and Italy. 7. They were once, with the United States, the absolute dominant players in the whole world. When it came to exports, imports, capital movements, loans, financing, you name it, the G7 was it. And that was the dominant player until the year 2020. Not that long ago, 4 years.
I'm going to just put it down.
That was the year that the lines crossed and a new group of nations emerged that could and did contest with the G7. It's called the BRICS, B-R-I-C-S. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, to which another 6 countries have been added, and another at least dozen have now applied formally or informally to join them. The year 2020 was when the size, the wealth of the G7 finally faced the reality that the BRICS had caught up with them. The year 2020 was when they were about equal, and equal in the following meaning. If you add up the GDP of every one of the G7 countries, and remember GDP is simply a rough measure of the total output of goods and services in 1 year that occur in a country. So you take all 7 of the G7 countries, you add up the GDP of each one, and you get the total gross product of the 7 big powers in the world, the G7. And on the other hand, you do the same for the BRICS countries, starting with their powerhouse center, China. And you add Russia, India, and all the rest. In 2020, they were about equal. Today, they're not equal anymore. The BRICS have surged ahead, and the G7 have shrunk. The G7 today may be 28, 29% of global GDP, and the BRICS 33, 34% of global GDP. There is a new sheriff in town. There's a new economic powerhouse in the world economy. And it's outgrowing the old one. The competition is there, but also who's winning and losing is right out there to see. And it's going on year in, year out. It's going on as I speak to you. And there's nothing on the horizon that's going to change that. The gap between the two is going to get larger.
That's right.
And what it is doing is changing the world economy radically. Every country on earth, ours included, but every country large and small in Asia, Africa, Latin America, are rethinking their economic situation. Because if they need a big loan, they don't just go to New York or London the way they once did. They could now go, and they do now go, to Beijing or to New Delhi or to Moscow.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to go somewhere else, and they're at the very least going to say, well, what will you do for me? What will you do for me? And they're going to for sure go to the BRICS because they're richer than the G7 now. They have more money with which to cut deals with smaller and medium-sized countries around the world that are needy one way or another. And those countries are going to realign themselves. They're going to behave differently because the world economy has changed. The old empire.
Hey, look, the empire's fallen, man. Meanwhile, the portion of Asia that they call Europe is being hit with floods. There's a lot of death going over there. That's 2 Ezra, the 9th chapter. The Lord is visiting the world which he made. And he's bringing death, destruction, and division. Yahweh Shai said in Matthew, the 10th chapter, I come to bring a sword and division. He didn't come to bring, let's hold hands together. The Lord is not coming for that. All right, and the West is going to be dealt with by these Eastern powers, because they're going to realize that the West is on that. If we can't have it, no one can. Shit, you can see that by the way they just keep destroying the air, the water, the food. And the East is going to realize that we'll never be safe. We can't leave these people well armed. It's like leaving an enemy armed that's dangerous to you. So what are all the nations going to do? They're all going to point their arrows here at America, and America's getting ready, and this thing is heating up to the point. You see, you've already witnessed and saw the evidence, the receipts of what's happening in the land of Israel, and all they got to do is press a button, and so America is going to eventually cut them off, and they're going to get swallowed up and annihilated by all those melanated people over there, because they didn't belong over there, and not to mention that a lot of that people are leaving, so their numbers are even dwindling. So, and they don't belong there. So, but flip side of it, they do. The Lord put them there just so He can destroy them, and that's exactly what He's about to do, and bringing shame upon them. Let's get that. Shameful spewing upon Esau's glory, all his fraud, all his lies. He's being found out. That's Habakkuk 2:16, and it reads, "Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. And the cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory." All right, so shameful spewing is upon your glory now, and it's going to get worse. And then Yahweh himself is going to come with that heavenly sword. All right, that angelic, God-like Thanos apocalyptic force to take you out of power, because he's not going to leave the BRICS in power either. See, that's the flip side. He's going to give them the power to destroy the West and the imposters over in the Holy Land, and then the Lord's going to come and put them under subjection. All right, that's that war in heaven. They're going to stop fighting each other and try to fight the Lord when the Lord returns. They're literally going to be fighting up in the sky above your head. All right. And the Lord's going to annihilate them in front of everyone, just to show His power, the same way He drowned and destroyed the Egyptian army in the ancient time. He's going to do it again to the rest of the world. All right, to the rest of these heathens that bind together against Babylon. That's just what we are. So let's get another video, and we get ready to wrap this thing up.
Is declining.
All right, because there's a new system coming into place, and it is not good for America. All right, here we go.
Do you know what shocks will be given to the West at the BRICS Summit 2024? As of now, the world seems to be busy with broader political issues. However, BRICS has been working secretly, and as of now, it not only has put a new payment system in place, but is attracting hundreds of countries. It's just unbelievable that 159 out of the 195 countries of the world have already committed to adopting this new BRICS payment system. What does that mean for the West-dominated SWIFT payment system? What are these countries that are joining hands with BRICS against the West's bullying payment system? In this video, let's learn about everything that is bringing nightmares to the West. So, what's the story? Until now, countries around the world have never been serious about considering the adoption of any other payment system than SWIFT. Therefore, earlier, when there were talks about BRICS developing and working on finding an alternative, it was considered impractical. That's because it was hard to believe a new alliance would make 195 countries in the world choose new, untested options. But guess what has happened? Today, 159 countries around the world are waiting for BRICS to make its payment system live so they can adopt it.
America
This new
is
BRICS payment
fucked.
platform is designed to facilitate trade among member countries without relying on the U.S. dollar.
The Israelis
marking a
are
major
dead in the
advancement their
water.
de-dollarization
That false
strategy.
state is done.
This initiative could be a game changer, not just for BRICS nations, but also for many other countries looking to reduce their dependence on the dollar. In recent years, BRICS has been actively working to decrease its reliance on the dollar, particularly in response to Western sanctions against Russia. The creation of this payment system is a clear push toward promoting the use of local currencies and alternative settlement methods for international trade. We are seeing that despite initial doubts, the concept has gained considerable momentum. Elvira Nabiullina, governor of Russia's central bank, clearly said that this new system will provide an alternative to SWIFT, the globally dominant financial messaging network. To make things easier to understand for those who believe SWIFT cannot be replaced, she said that similar systems are already in place in other countries. The success of this system will largely depend on the technical readiness and interest of the participating nations, and in this case, new participants are waiting in line to adopt the new payment system. Victoria Panova, head of Russia's BRICS Presidency Council, highlighted that developing this payment mechanism has become a top priority for the alliance. For many, this comes as a surprise because until now, BRICS has been denying that it's developing a new payment system. She explained that the system is intended to make trade and economic exchanges between BRICS countries more independent. This initiative is central to the agenda for the upcoming BRICS 2024 summit. Once the BRICS payment system is launched, it is expected to be operational immediately, potentially expanding trade opportunities within the alliance. With many nations eager to join BRICS, this new system could become a cornerstone of their economic strategies, offering a viable alternative to the US-dominated financial order. But how has Iran entered the debate and made the West nervous? Nasser Kanani, the spokesperson for Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has put forward a proposal to link the payment systems of all BRICS nations to streamline and enhance the efficiency of financial settlements between these countries. That's because Iran has the experience and expertise to survive despite facing strict sanctions.
Wow.
It knows how to bypass SWIFT and continue trade, making economies sanctions-proof. Kanani pointed out that the current geopolitical environment is ripe for such an initiative, particularly as BRICS countries are increasingly moving their trade payments to national currencies. Therefore, Iran is pushing for a deeper integration of the economic systems within the BRICS bloc. The proposed plan involves connecting the existing payment systems of these nations, which would allow for smoother and more seamless financial transactions across the bloc. After this, the payment infrastructure will be expanded and more countries will be added. In a recent press conference, Kanani highlighted the successful integration of the Russian and Iranian payment systems as a model that could be expanded across the entire BRICS bloc. He emphasized that the conditions are already in place to advance this initiative and noted that Iran has formally suggested to Russia that this payment system integration be extended to all BRICS countries. But what is this payment system that even the Western allies cannot ignore? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Africa's geopolitics, economy, and changing landscape. Let's continue now. Even if the names of the 159 countries willing to adopt BRICS' new payment system have not been revealed, it's obvious that they include Western allies. According to statements from different meetings between...
And that being the portion that you needed to hear. All right, let me bring that back up. Of the 100, there's 195 countries, and 159 of them are going with BRICS, and those are and of the 159 are allied countries to America. America is fucked. It's finished. And they will not be able to help themselves, and they will not be able to bleed their own people dry anymore to support the needs or the wants, not even the needs, but the wants of the imposters over in the land of Israel, because that's what has brought down America. America has spent trillions defending the interests of all these Israeli interest groups here in America, all these NGOs, and at the same time disregarding his own citizens and their own citizens' needs. All right, and that's just the ugly truth. And all this is going to lead up. This is leading us straight to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. The 37th chapter, you know, these are very important things. The awakening of the Israelites, which exposed the fraud of the people over in the Holy Land, saying that they were the people. All right, because remember the prophecy said that the Israelites had to awaken. All right, they had to be awakened. You know, they're saying in Baruch 2:30. It reads, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. See, the Israelites were cut off from their heritage by the very people who are in their land claiming to be them. All right. Let me jump down to 34. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. Well, then so these people can't be the people. Read the screen. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their God, and they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people out of the land of Israel that I have given them. These people are leaving in droves. Right? I heard in one report that it's almost 2 million have left already. These can't be the people of the Lord. All right. And what's on the horizon is that they have an enemy in the West that they cannot leave in place because they have too many weapons. So they have to, so this third world war is moments away. The closer we get to them launching their system and all the 159. So, let's do a quick math equation here. All right. I'm going to show it on the screen here. All right. There it is, 39. So basically 39 countries versus 159 countries with the powerhouses of Brazil, Russia, India, China, all right, and South Africa. And now all these other nations that are joined unto them. So how is America? The SWIFT system is done. America is done. Call halal, Yahweh, Bashan, Abishai, Bahasham, Rakahak, Radash, Kwam, Yasharala, Shalawam, Abad, Babal.